Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Just thought I'd make a video on this subject. I was watching Musty One on his single cab and how the latest video he had out. I could put a link down in the description. Maybe if you look down there, I'll put one in there. And he was talking about how when he built his single cab, it was kind of therapy for a loss of his friend, and his friend had passed away, and so going out to the garage and working on that, kind of helps out. And I can really relate to that because I've done the same thing. I went through divorce with my first wife, and then before I got remarried again, I had a relationship that was, it was pretty good, and we were having a good time and everything else. And, I thought it was really good, and there was a lot of uncertainties she had because, I was too soon from the divorce, and she didn't understand, emotionally where I was at. And I was really, solidly moved on. I mean, which just doesn't usually happen that way because a lot of people, when they get divorced, they need time to really kind of go through, the change of going back to being single or whatever. But honestly, I was really not in a relationship in a long time, even though I was married. So it was just kind of weird. I can't really explain why and all that because my kids watch the channel sometimes. So it's just important that I don't say too much about that. I don't want to say anything bad about my ex-wife. And I never have really said anything bad about her to my kids. It's just, I've always spoke highly of her, even though I may not feel that way. But anyway, I went through this bad breakup. She had basically told me, forget it, it's over, it's too soon, whatever. I don't know. Her feelings were just not there or something. And I thought, we had a lot in common. We did a lot of things. She was a VW person. And, I was kind of cool with all that stuff. And, it just didn't work out, so that's the way things happen sometimes. So I had this car here, and it was pretty rusted out. Well, pretty. I mean, it was actually almost as bad as that bucket truck. The whole bottom, the quarters, all the way across, parts of the doors, the front fenders, bottoms, this part here, all the way across. In the back was all just a giant rust hole. And at that time, they didn't have a lot of parts for them. Now they have tons. And these little 13-inch wheels that I put on here were kind of a temporary thing. I was just putting those on because there wasn't a lot of wheel options for the 4-lug. And eventually I was going to change it to the 5-lug. So I just bought these to kind of get it going. And I put it together. I had the upholstery done. I'll show you the inside. I had the upholstery done by Garza's Upholstery, and that's the way they did it right here. So they made it like that. There's not a lot of light in there, but it's kind of cool. They did it. The original stitching. Okay, that's the original stitching that they have on there. And basically, he stitched it like the original pattern and then put the black piping on. And it was actually a black interior, and I didn't want a black interior with a convertible. Kind of hot in the summer, so that'd be cool to cruise at the beach. And anyway, and I really want to do this car again. I just want to give it justice before I do figure out what I'm going to do with it permanently. I don't know if I'm going to keep it or sell it, who knows, but I definitely want to give it justice before I do that. As part of the divorce settlement, I had a 63 Nova Monza, Corvair Monza convertible that I had to sell, and it wasn't because of the money or anything like that. It was just like my ex-wife just said that, if you want a divorce and you want to settle this thing quick, you sell that car and I'll sign these papers, fine. I said, good. So rather than dragging it on for months or years, didn't really want to go that direction. Didn't really care how much money I lost. It didn't really matter. It's pretty much broke at that point in time. So I decided to let all that stuff go. Screw it, move over, get out, move on as quickly as I can, and just start, making life for my kids and whatever I could do from there on. So anyway, after like a couple of weeks of just, or about a week, I guess, maybe, of really, terrible emotions and dealing with, the breakup of her, I decided to build that Nova. So I did that car in a real hurry. There's some crack Bondo in it, stuff like that, because I was really, going super fast. I think I did that car, and I know it was less than 2 months complete, started to start to finish, with all that welding and all the fabrication of the panels and all that stuff. And even like the convertible top, the front rail of the convertible top was rusted in half. Like, just to give you an idea, it was pretty bad condition. So I went ahead and saved that car, and 2 months later, I'm driving it, and enjoying the car and having fun. But during the time when I was building the car, it helped me, take the pain and give it to you in smaller doses. So, like, for instance, if you're maybe you're going through a hard time, and you have a really bad situation, sometimes building that car, it can help you. You'd still have it's still in the back of your head, all the stuff that's going on, but it enables you to kind of take it in smaller doses and kind of bring it on slower, so that you can deal with it a little bit better. And then by the time I was done, a couple months later, I wasn't completely healed. I mean, I don't know, it was pretty bad for me. And so I was just like, it took me a while to get past that. But I'm going to tell you, it really did help with dealing with the emotions, and building that car, and ended up with a cool car after that, and drove for a while. And then, about, I see, in 97, it was like 96 when that was going on. And late 97 is when I met my wife, and we've been together 20 plus years. And, I haven't wanted to build a car. I didn't want to build a car for the first 10 or 15 years we were together. I may have done a little bit of stuff, but did some body work. I did some wreck repair and stuff like that, but I didn't really build any cars during that time. So completely, I just had the Nova, and we enjoyed it. Went to the beach and stuff like that, and took the top down, and drove around, had a lot of fun in it. So, but yeah, it, when I got back into doing this, I had planned on getting back into building cars. And this time it wasn't, to deal with an emotional thing. It was just because it's something I wanted to do, because I built them when I was younger, with, just because I wanted to build them, but I wanted to have my own place to do it. Well, in 2012, I think it was 2011, we had a really terrible year of business. And I took my bus, and I went, you know what, I think I'm going to go ahead and fix this thing up and sell it. It's a pretty good asset. I could get rid of it and get some pretty good money for it. Before I got done with that 57 combi bus, which was, at the time, was not really worth putting back to the original. It had a lot of problems and stuff, and I just didn't really want to deal with it. And it was because it was just like, it was a work truck. It had fake 21 window wind glass in it. So it had wraparound corner glass, but it didn't have the middle glass. It was 11 window with a blank, and then it had the corner glass. I don't know if you can understand that, but it was kind of hodgepodge and weird. But it was because, back when I built it, there was buses were, junk, and you could get them for cheap. And the whole reason we had them is to take your surfboard to the beach and not get damaged. I never did really get the chance to ever use it for that, because, got married too young. So anyway, so the reason I just got back into doing these, and like I said, this wasn't a project to try and deal with emotional things or whatever. Not really, but what I did is, before I went ahead and sold my first bus, I realized that maybe before I'm done, I would want another one. So I actually bought another project for like $1,200, and ended up doing, I don't know, 5 or 6 before I really started doing YouTube. And, and what I did was, the whole reason for that was to build this garage we're sitting in right now, that has air conditioning on, by the way. Because I literally built the other ones in my awning that's in the other shop area. So anyway, back to the subject. I think that when you're building a car, like I said, it just enables you to, you're focused on doing that. and you're not avoiding the other emotions. People think sometimes, oh, you're avoiding the other emotions. You're just taking it in doses that'll manageable, because sometimes just the whole, a death or a massive breakup or something like that can really be emotionally draining if you just deal with just that and you're not dealing with that in smaller doses. If you bring it in smaller doses, it becomes a lot easier to deal with, in my opinion. And it really did help me through a tough time. And it did same thing with Darren on Musty One's channel with Krusty when he built that. So he built that with the same intent. I mean, he had a friend who had passed away, and he decided to build Krusty, because it was there, and it helped him get through the hard time of losing a friend that he was building cars with before that. So I really wasn't watching the channel at that point. I think I started watching him about the time when he made that 2-engine bicycle. I think that one is when I kind of started chiming in. I think I had put a few comments in, and back then he always replied to him because he was kind of newer, smaller channel. Now he's gotten pretty big, and good for him. I'm really happy for Musty One and what he's done, helping people learn a lot about small engines, especially, and about all kinds of stuff that he's doing, Volkswagen stuff. And it's funny that he has the same background. I mean, my most of my background in Volkswagens was between age 16 and I'm trying to think, 16 or 15, right around there, up until about 20. I'm trying to think, about 25, and then I kind of faded away from it, and then kept my bus the whole time though. So I always had a Volkswagen, never went without it, but had it down to a smaller scope of things, and then brought it back in about 2011 is when I started, back into it. I think maybe 2010, I bought my Rabbit. That was kind of what kind of got me going on Volkswagens again. So anyway, that was the whole reason for that, was because I was just paying so much in fuel. So I wanted something that was really cheap on gas that would do some of the jobs I was doing. And I built that truck for that. And now I have the Sport Wagon, so I don't really need it anymore. So anyway, just thought I'd share it with you guys. Maybe you've been in a situation like that, or maybe you're going through a situation like that, and it might be time to get the wrenches out and start your car, and maybe help you get through a tough time. Maybe your parent, a lot of people with COVID, maybe you lost a friend, maybe you lost a family member, maybe some things like that will help with you, and you're trying to cope with that. Sometimes building a car can actually get you through that time and make you deal with those emotions a little bit on it, like make it a little bit less at once. In other words, you're not just taking it all in right now. You can kind of build a car, do a little bit, watch some YouTube, even that kind of helps you. When you get guys like us that are doing YouTube, kind of helps deal with some of that stuff too, because you're really part of it. All you guys think, you just watch, but all your comments and stuff like that really help motivate us. I know Musty One, same as me. We like to read the comments, and sometimes we don't have time to reply. Sometimes we just use basic replies or whatever. But a lot of comments, I whip through them really fast. I read almost all of them, So, and so does, I know he reads a lot of them, but I mean, he gets like really crazy amounts of comments. So he doesn't read them all that much anymore, but he still uses those comments and stuff like that to help him do the builds and stuff like that and get information. So you guys are all part of it doing that. So you can be part of it that way, or you can be part of it by doing your car and, make yourself deal with that a little bit smaller doses, make it feel a bit better, and bring it on a little slower. It's not, doesn't get rid of it. It doesn't make it go away. It's not like drinking or something like that. You're just trying to bury it. You're actually doing something with your hands, and then your mind's still going, if you know what I mean. Anyway, all right, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you like this, and hope you can understand.